see if they can climb up the grid.
Absolutely. I like that you point out that that is 1 lap pace there for Garrett, and he could be pressured into some mistakes or even just be outrun here in the race. Cars are gridding up. JP, what do you say we go ahead and walk down our starting grid? I'll give you the top 10.
All right, starting in P1, obviously, as we talked about it, Garrett D'Alessandro starting P1.
Don't forget, these cars are wide and the chicane is narrow, so watch it on the formation lap.
In P3, we have John Winterdorf.
This is
I hope I pronounced that right as well. I apologize to everyone that I butchered the name.
Yeah,
P4,
least favorite track for a lot of reasons.
P5, we have Eric
Waist-high curves among them.
In P6, we have
I love it in the Skippy, but anything else, no.
Gary,
Oh, it's so easy to blow your front wheel off on that final chicane in the Skippy.
And rounding up the top 10,
Yeah, it is, totally.
Mikhail Rudenbusch. I hope I pronounced that right. I probably butchered it, but the top 11 is with you, Andrew.
Driving any of these GT cars next to the Skippy or open wheel just feels like the track is about half the size it normally is.
It's Justin Mikhaila to his outside in the number 18. Go back to row number 7. We've got Sarah Rabb and Gavin Boyett in the lone Ford GT that we've seen at least thus far. Row number 8, I had to count real quick, is going to be Tamer Ozkaraglu. We learned that name in the Lucky Dog Racing League, along with Andre Millet. We're familiar, at least with row number 8, 15th and 16th. 17th, it's going to be Claude Rimillard in the number 64. To his outside, James Allen in the number 117. To round out the top 20,
the temp is 77 Fahrenheit, 60 minutes.
Starting off in P21, Tyler G. Campbell, right alongside him.
Follow car number 7 in the right column.
In P24, we have Sam Akian. I hope I pronounced that right.
So that is actually Gem Aiken. I'm going to cut it. That is Gem Aiken. We learned that name as well. And he's actually the one who contacted us about covering this series. Glad to see him out there.
Oh, nice to see him out there. In P25, we have Taring.
We need to catch car number 7.
Adam Litoff? Oh, Jesus, I'm butchering everybody's name. I do apologize.
Catch up to car number 7.
P27, Michael Darling. P28, Ben Hartman. P29, Randall Aviers. And running up the top 30, Michael DeSala.
And following up, De La Sala is going to be Alan Roth in 31st. Edward Nelson 32nd. We'll see the rest of the field scroll across. We are getting right down to the start of this one. And again, you can see the rest of the field going by there on the bottom with a lot of cars.
Catch up to car number 7. Go, go, go.
Like 41 cars this evening. That is quite a lot for Circuit Barcelona. Again, thank you all for joining us this evening. Cannot wait to get these first 60 minutes.
On your left. Hold your line. Clear left.
Right now, it's turn 16. Out of the final corner, the lights go green. We are racing at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. The season's off.
Hold your line.
TT Challenge.
Still there.
Everybody napping. Looks like he already has a
Hold your line. Clear left.
Well, look behind him. James Hansen's going to try to look around the outside. Oh, he does. Oh, wait, we have a car spinning. Almost. James Hansen almost.
Left side.
Gets collected into there. We're going to have to
hold your line.
That was
clear left.
Star car.
I was calling out the entire happenings there. Gavin Cohn, Mikhail Rudenbusch, it looks like, are the ones turned around in turn number 1. Let's see what happens to them. They go 3 wide down the front stretch, and it looks like somebody might move over, possibly. What happens to Mikhail?
Yep.
Oh,
yeah, you're telling me I lost before the race even started.
Right in front of
Mike, if you're there, go ahead. Definitely go around.
I'm not sure who that was. It was either Trevor Anderson. I think it was Trevor Anderson, actually, because
fucking Gavin spun into me.
Colored wheels. What happens to Rudenbusch here as well?
Yeah, that was crazy. No, 3 cars going into one. Unfortunately, he moved on a braking as oh yeah, you can see he just moves on a braking. Unfortunately, loses control.
Teammates. Valhalla teammates send Rudenbusch around.
And that is rule number 1 of racing. You never want to make contact with your teammate, and you can see he just has nowhere to go. Has to wait for the entire field to go past. That's a terrible start from that Audi.
Up at the front, though, it's going to be Garrett D'Alessandro leading the final couple of corners, and he's going to be out of that chicane.
P23.
1. So props to him. It looks like we're estimating laps at the top. It's supposed to be a time race. I'm not sure why ATVO is doing that, but we'll work through it nonetheless. Garrett leads lap 1. John Whitendorf in second place. It's James Hansen rather third, and Eric Molinari. I said it right earlier. Molinari. There's all these names. There's a lot of new ones. So Molinari in fourth. Trevor Anderson, after that lap 1 incident, is up to 5th.
Yeah, and disaster for our former starter, Chris Ronover started P2, but he's in 24th place. So we're not really sure what happened as we were covering the T1 disaster for some drivers. Chris may have got caught up in some incidents, and he dropped all the way to P21. So this is going to be a driver to look out for. Obviously, he had the pace, he had a one-lap pace, just the second fastest of them all. As you can see, he had going down the inside, getting done on John McClintock, and he just, opportunistic, you can see he's just putting the pressure once again on Jim. Sorry, I couldn't remember the name, but he's just putting the pressure. Jamie, sorry. He's already putting pressure, so he's impatient. He wants to get back.
Yeah, he just rear-ended me too.
He wants to get back into the top 10, top 5 position.
I hate that kid.
Just going over those curves, just maximum attack for this driver.
Up at the front, there's pressure onto Alessandro, and it's coming from Whitendorf in second place. This number 24 is actually looking pretty good. He flew under the radar coming into
The leader has just done a 146.83.
Laps at least. We're only on lap number 2. So it's still very, very early, but this number 24 looking pretty good. And he's putting the pressure, keeping the pressure on Garrett, and that's important. You just always want to fill up those mirrors and always want to be there, want to make that driver think about you.
You've just done a 149.89.
You're dragging on for 60 minutes. And I mean, that's right on the edge of a normal fuel run for these cars, right at an hour, but they have been limited to, I believe, was it 65% capacity?
Yeah, exactly. So 65% capacity of fuel, starting fuel, obviously, from these drivers. So it's going to be interesting to see, if someone can save fuel. Obviously, you want to be behind someone to save fuel. So John is in a prime position right now if he wants to put pressure, or if he wants to save fuel, to obviously think about the long game of the strategy. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens. You can see, just as we said, 6/10 ahead on one lap pace, but looks like that's not really translating into race pace. Obviously, it still looks like this is still a little bit quicker, but it's not those 6/10 of a second as John is really comfortable on that heavy fuel.
Watching Sarah Rabb right now in the 8th position at number 31. She follows up Rennie Luke now, who is pressuring Brandon Boyd.
You're pulling away from the guy behind. The gap's now
in that
0.8.
T-Rex machine. This was one that really surprised me to see when the paints got submitted, but I guess he just wanted dinosaurs on his paint scheme when he got it painted. So, hey man, it works out. I'm not sure what fossil. Oh, he's actually going to pull out the corner, and he almost takes out the 913 of Brandon Boyd. Thankfully, gets it rode down just in time, and we were talking about this with Emerson Arden a little while ago, our social media guy. These guys have ABS in the GT3 category, and that may have been what saved them from walking out and sliding through some.
Yeah, obviously, ABS saves a lot of lives, not only the life, but also the race. Yes, you can see that if ABS wasn't a factor, he may have just locked up, and obviously once he locked up,
That's your best lap in this session. Sector 3 is 1.1 off the pace.
And we can see just the
He just took 3 wide and T1.
the other. Unfortunately, that's going to be the nature of the circuit, but we're definitely
Right side, clear right.
And you can see just Ferrari after Ferrari putting pressure on one another, just trying to make the car ahead of you, trying to force the car ahead of you, into a mistake. And that's going to be the nature of the track, as we can see. Everybody just rolling one another, trying
On
to
your right,
that
clear
little
right.
bit of a gap. As we can see, Brandon Boyd goes a bit wide, and
Okay, Randall.
On your left.
But just
Hold your line. Clear left.
Refueling window will open after.
Clear left.
So Joseph Griffin has chimed in a little bit over on YouTube. He says he's a geologist, so I think it makes sense to have a T-Rex skull and fossils all over the place. That's pretty cool paint scheme, actually. I believe Joseph is a painter as well, so that's a pretty cool concept there. Now, I believe that was turn 10. Mike's, I believe he's starting to say that, thereabouts. Turn 10 without mistake was made last year, so we'll see if Brady can get that under control this time. Looks like they're coming up to it here in a moment. This is certainly, I think, one of the more interesting tracks to bring GT3 cars to. In fact, wow, you see Brady Lube now utilizing those flashers, and that's going to make the 915 Audi run just a little bit offline. The Audi there again, Brandon Glenn Boyd. And, I mean, I'm not sure how to use the flashers personally in that case, but hey, he wants to get on by.
Yeah, exactly. You want to try to distract your opponent as much as you can. Obviously, you can see just how confident he is on the brakes of the Ferrari, and that just gets into the driver's head. You know, is he gonna make it to this one? Is he gonna make it to the corner?
You're all over the place. Come on, man. Get your head back together. B24.
Side of where you need to brake, so you just brake something a little bit too early, a little bit too late, and that can allow the driver behind you to get what he wants, which is the position. So you can see drivers forcing different strategies to try to push the guy ahead into the snake. That's going to be really interesting to see which driver uses which techniques. You know, sometimes he just a bit on the brake to the inside. As you can see, he gets really close out of the exit turn. He's not close enough to get into the inside of turn 3. Sorry. So you know, you can see Brady wants to get past that Audi. You know, he doesn't want to look behind as the cars ahead of him are starting to get a little bit of a gap. So we're gonna see if Brady has what it takes, you know, in a few corners to try to get the move done.
Battle continuing on with look back from the Audi line. This is looking back to the rear fascia, if you will. The diffuser down at the bottom, some of the bumper up above, and this is a great view from this Audi R8, and you can even see the fumes coming out of the exhaust. This is a great look back at those couple of Ferraris that are following, those being Brady Lube now and Sarah Rabb are following him in suit. And he's actually starting to catch up to 5th place Trevor Anderson just a little bit. It looks like this line is backing up a little bit. There's some separation up at the front. So Garrett Alessandro has actually left the field by about 1.5 seconds. Rolled 2 more seconds back. Actually, no, 3.5 seconds back. That's where you find James Hansen currently in this number 1 machine. Molinati's all over him. And then you have Anderson and the rest of this line that we've been talking about for the last few minutes.
Yeah, I guess James is on a prime position to be on this circuit at this position because he doesn't look like they have the pace to fight into P1 right now, but
Okay, Randall, don't be intimidated by this little shit. Make him work for it.
The guys behind you, so you can see that just the last train car, 6-car train, so you know, James is really lucky that on this circuit it's really hard to overtake. You can see just how difficult it is to get close, especially in the final sector. So if he can keep his nose clean, you know, keep his strategy game on clean, he might be on for a podium. We never know due to the nature of this track. One driver that I did want to mention, which we did mention a minute ago, is Chris Brunneberg, already up into P16, so he's making moves into this track. So you can see there, just getting really close to the BMW. He's going to try to get the nose into turn 2 with turn 3. He doesn't get quite close. You can see there, just BMW sliding a little bit into turn 3. He's going to get a better exit. Is he going to try to make a move into turn 4? We gotta wait and see. So the BMW goes a little bit defensive. This Chris is gonna try around the outside. He breaks a bit later. He's gonna try to go for the cutback. The BMW washes a bit wide, but manages to get the car slowed down as Chris lines up to the inside of turn 5. He's gonna get the move done. He gets the inside line. The BMW has to yield. And they almost make contact on the exit. That's extremely close, but Chris gets the move done, and he's up to P15.
That was Andre Millette that he's fighting with. Eventually loses that position, so the next driver that Chris is going to have to go through is yet another Dog driver we know here at Pits.tv, Timero's Paraglue, in the number 4s. These guys are fighting from 14th, 15th, and so on. Millette loses that position, now drops into 16th, but just ahead of Moislam Nicolou and Jackson Lowry on the racetrack. And just behind, actually, James Allen and Gavin Boyette, who moves up position in front of that number 117 BMW. Allen. So a lot of midfield fighting. This is where a lot of the good battles come from as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's really nice to see that they're making moves, you know, since it's most bowling forward in the racetrack, so it's really nice to see it actually making moves, not only dropping it back, but right now you can see it's under a lot of pressure as Chris is also trying to line up a movie on the car on the Ferrari line forward. So it's going to be interesting to see. We have a lot of battles going on throughout the grid, and it's really hard to try to keep up with every single one of them, but we can see there Chris is getting closer and closer and closer to that car, but it doesn't look like he has a little bit of damage in the rear wing, as we can see, so maybe a little bit of contact from lap 1, but you know, we're gonna have to keep an eye on this as Gavin looks like he just
The gap to Hartman ahead is now 3.1 seconds.
Trying to get the inside line into turn 5. turn 4 actually, doesn't get quite the best exit, but you can see just putting the pressure on the drives, you can see just braking later, getting close to that bumper, trying to make the guy ahead and make a mistake. He's just so much confident on the wheel, isn't he?
Yeah, Brunner definitely exuding some confidence here this evening, and certainly making sure that he is seen as one of the better drivers here in the series from most of things. He's definitely got a lot of pace, and I wouldn't be surprised if
There's an incident in turn 10. Yellow flag, watch out.
Coming in the position that he was in to
There's an incident in turn 11. Looks like it's Lowry.
There it is. Sometimes I forget how to speak English, and we just kind of have to work through it. But Brunner going to make a move here on Jamera.
All right, Randall, the next car is Lowry.
Late braking, and I don't think Brunner made the apex. That's going to send the lead around as well with contact from behind.
You talking to me, Tamir?
Yeah, disaster there for the Ferrari, no. But it looks like
more contact!
Oh my god. That's
I'm a runner called
that's
after the race.
disaster. You know, I was just talking about how
Thank you.
it didn't look like it was fault. He just dived down the inside.
Come on, man, keep pushing. 23rd place.
Ability, just a constant heat effect, and just the BMW checking up, but you know the car behind him just couldn't react in time. So that's just
This fucker's trying to distract you. Don't let him. A bit quicker than us entering turn 4.
This is Brunner making a move on Tamero's character, and I'm not so sure that, man, they were trying to outbrake one another, and I think that Chris was trying to go for a bit of a later turn in, and that's where the two met. Let's see if we can get a better look at it here, and then they stacked up behind. That's where Andre Malek gets collected. I believe that was Limo Islam that just got into him. We'll see the replay of contact here. We will slow it down for you. Actually, wow, yeah, Bruno was later on the race.
We have a lot of time left, guys. You have to dive off.
Turn in. Derek Blue with the car underneath him was trying to turn in slightly.
The car in front is Hartman. Track limits, watch those lines.
Stick. Nick Blue almost catches those guys rather. And then we'll see Jackson Lowry here in the number 78 on the left. There's contact there. We're trying to just get back onto the racing line. Lowry trying to go on by, and Millett trying to get back in the field. So that's what says there.
yeah, my best guess is Ferrari just wanted to push Chris into the apex, you know, as you do when you're trying to rotate around the outside, you just try to push the guy into the apex so you can force him to brake more because he's not going to have all the road work, but unfortunately Chris was having none of that. You know, they were pretty much side by side. The number 4 had a bit of a car advantage, so it's going to be interesting to see. Race control is definitely going to have to take a look at that maybe after the race, so it's going to be interesting to see if anything comes out of it. And obviously in the Audi, I guess it was just racing this, and you know, the BMW was on the inside, the Audi just didn't see it until he got taken out, but you can see Chris, nothing shakes the guy. You know, he probably got contact into the
Right side.
He got some damage on the side of the
Clear right.
sorry, and he's already, he already had contact in the before, he's already catching him.
Oh, Randall, come on, mate, defend your position.
Chris out of his group right now, he's just so focused, and hopefully we can see him pushing even further.
Now, would I be mistaken to say that these Ferraris honestly sound like pod racers from Star Wars? Like, that's all I can think of. I'm not sure what pod racer. I have to go back and watch the Phantom Menace again. But that's all I hear when I hear these Ferraris around this place, getting right up to the top of the gear, right up to the chip. Is I just hear pod racers. I guess this is pod racing.
Yeah, exactly. Now that you mention it, it does kind of sound like it. Now I'm never going to get that out of my head. Thank you, man. And I guess no one is watching it. Everybody that is watching this broadcast is not going to get that out
The car
of
behind is reeling you in. The gap is now 0.33.
Yeah, sorry everybody watching. Now all you're going to be thinking about is Star Wars. Meanwhile, I still can't get my tone in the right order. I can't tell this. I'm going to turn it over to Emerson, actually, almost. You know what, Emerson, we're going to check in on you. How are you doing?
I've been alright. I've been seeing the aggression pick up. Right from the get-go, actually, the aggression was high. It kind of dipped down a little bit. How about that 6-car battle early on for third? And then that contact with Runnemer. Now it's just hard racing. Of course, you know, he was frustrated after dropping back in the pack.
Don't let this guy intimidate you.
Not intentional whatsoever.
B24, keep it neat and tidy. We still might get something out of this.
You mentioned that 6-car battle, and it's not let up yet really at all. They they spaced out a little bit, so the battle isn't quite as narrow as it was, but that line of cars is still very well getting. In fact, soon we're going to be adding Tyler J. Campbell to that fight as well. He is in 9th place in the number 3. I'm not sure the team name there, but I know there's a lot of those guys in the field. Jackson Lowry being one of them. Let's see, one of his teammates actually behind him. Justin, it's tough to see, I've got kind of small fonts here on my screen. Justin McKayla I'm going to go with in the number 18, currently running 10th. Kyler Robinson in 11th. That's then where we find Gavin Boyette following was one of his teammates. He's now 6 teammates in the number 28 and Gavin's in 30. So Valhalla having some pretty good runs. We see the Whiplash Racing Machine of Trevor Anderson up there in 5th. Just some of the teams that we know, and we'll get more and more familiar as time goes on.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to mention last lap, we had the battle between Gavin, James, and Chris. James ended up making a mistake on turn 8, so that's why he
Left
dropped
side.
behind Chris. So,
Hold your line. Clear left.
Had to cut across the gravel and get a slow down. And
Fucking hell, defend these positions.
And Chris is on the hunt for Gavin, but Chris is absolutely thrashing these cars. He's just scrubbing the turns, and you can see that the number 44 Andre Millet trying to put pressure to the white yellow BMW. It looks like it worked as the BMW misses a bit of the apex. Is he going to be under pressure? No, he doesn't, so he backs down. And the final sector is extremely difficult to predict. It's pretty much borderline impossible. We can see just how close the number 44 is getting to that bright yellow BMW. You can see they're just making it slightly
B25.
just a bit of the impetus. Just see how much pressure, how much mistakes he's forcing out of it. As he gets a good exit into turn 16, he's going to be right alongside, right behind him as they head into the main straight, the massive main straight here. But you can see just looks like Nick got a bit of better exit, but is it based on going to be very enough breaks into turn 1? He's going to be looking down the inside. He does think about it, but stays a bit behind. You can see just how difficult it is. And if he doesn't get that move on, that blue BMW is going to be trying to get a move on those.
So Nick Blue currently defending in that number 76. We've got Mick, Andre, and Tamara. They're all in a line right here. They're all flowing on each other actually, and Jamaica in this battle as well. And the four of these guys we all know from the Lucky Dog Racing League. So they're all running in a chain. They know each other. They've run with each other before, so I think we're going to see some respectful racing out of this bunch. Nick Blue defending over Andre Millette right now. That was about how we started looking at. Then we noticed Tamara's good in that blue and green Ferrari 488 right behind these two BMWs. Another Ferrari to add to that fray is, like I said, Jamaica in the number 666. We used to driver piloting that here on Pit Stop TV, but good to see these four battling pretty nicely. Tamara's definitely testing track limits, and he's going to go to the side and try and use the draft to make blue to get on by Andre Millette. Millette a little bit easy in the braking zone jump, very heavy into turn 10, and that gives a spot back to Millette actually, getting back on by Tamara's character.
Yeah, I guess Tamara got a bit cautious after that. It's the Chris, you can see he just didn't turn in.
The gap in front is increasing. It's now 3.5.
Just got focus on the battle ahead. Just break by a bit. As you can see, that's getting extremely close to the BMW.
Hold your line.
And kind of lost a bit of
Hold your line.
to that on the car. So
Clear left.
just how close the drivers are from one another. You can see just actually with this battle, it just checked out. You can see just how far ahead of me of these group he is, and as you can see just behind him another group fighting. So fights all over the place. Here's kind of hard to keep track of every single battle that's going on, but you can see, wow, as you can see, Tamara is a bit, he's looking for me a bit, but he's definitely putting Andre on the board.
So we're just over 20 minutes of the way through this one. Again, it's cutting down laps at the top. We'll make sure that shows minutes next week.
The track temperature is increasing. It's now 102 Fahrenheit.
Expected third. Garrett D'Alessandro, I keep messing his name over and over and over. He currently sits in first. He's the race leader. He led practice. He led qualifying. He started on pole and has led every single lap of this one here so far.
That's half fuel. You've used half your fuel.
And the gap has, I think, held steady recently between he and Whitendorf for first and second. That Ferrari not letting
stay between the lines.
On your left, clear left.
Most of the event.
You'll need to slow down if you don't want a penalty.
Going back third though, it's James Hansen in the Ferrari, followed by Eric Molinati, who was checked out from 5th place, who switched hands to Brady Lube now. We saw him trying to get by some drivers a little while ago. He's trying to get by, let's see, Wade and now Anderson. He gets on by both. Trevor Anderson drops back into 6th, and Brandon Glenn Boyd is in 7th. So Rab hanging on that position.
326.
Charging to just passing by Connor just going backwards.
And Tyler, prime example of what we talked about at the end of qualifying. We had 41 cars fighting for a space on the track.
Stick to the plan. Don't be intimidated here.
Tyler started in 21st place. He started in 9th. So he made a huge gains on his first 20 minutes of this race. So it's going to be interesting to see if he has the pace to maybe, we don't know, fight for the lead, something, fight for the top 5 maybe. He's already in 9th. He's already closing up to Sarah. So it's going to be another driver to keep an eye out.
Guys in the chat rooting on Alan Roth. So you know what? Let's go ahead. Let's check in. I think it's Alan Roth here shooting. Let's James Allen. I see a lot of you guys in the YouTube chat. Just want to make sure I follow right now. There's some maybe there isn't a James Allen. Maybe I'm going insane. So we'll check in with Alan Roth back here in the. Oh, there's James Allen. 117.
Track limits.
I guess I'm blind. There we go, there was ball. So Alan Roth from Valhalla Simsport currently riding in, wow, 38. After starting 31st, he's dropped some spots. A lot of you guys talking about him there. And, man, not a great start to his run then in the Northwest GT3 Challenge, of course. It's hard to get on a right footing when you have 41 cars going into turn 1 of Barcelona for the first time around one another. But, all things considered, it could be a whole lot worse.
Yeah, exactly. It's unfortunately
B25.
Yeah, damage on the car. You can see that and it just doesn't look as smooth as it should be. But no, it's still 25 minutes into the race. It still has 20 laps, 20 big laps around here. 146, 147 to see drivers running. So he definitely has time to catch up.
Car right.
Everybody that we know, the race is definitely
Hold your line.
And no, he may try to
Clear right.
he already did it. He already has the take view, so he may go for a completely different strategy from everyone else. So the race is definitely not over for Alan Roth at this point.
Ian Erasmus asking for a close-up of John McClintock. Let's see if we can get a visit at McClintock's machine. I've seen him a few times around. And I'm just going to find him used to names and numbers. So I guess this is the worst week to try and do this, but let's try and find McClintock in numbers. And he's in the number 8. Ooh, and he's just behind a battle as well. This is that continuing battle that we saw earlier on. And he's behind Michael Darling. He's behind Roger Button. Jem Williams and there goes Carriers. A couple of BMWs have switched positions with the Ferraris in that battle.
On your left, clear left. Car left, clear left.
It's actually recently. And I see why Ian Erasmus wanted to see it now. I see that with the tag on the back.
Yeah, it's definitely a great looking vehicle. If that was on training pace and if I was running for a team on that, I would definitely run that. Definitely 9 livery, on the Audi. And you can see, hopefully this Audi can catch up to the 3 BMWs that I have.
Okay, Randall, hold your nerve, just keep it smooth, no mistakes. Go faster than I was into, turn 12.
All the drivers trying to make making a little bit of a mistake. So John already closed right up to the back of Michael.
Left side, clear left.
But he's already on the back, so hopefully we can see him putting that out into down into turn 1 in the first sector, and hopefully we can see him charging forwards into the and
Roger Millett all in making their turn 1 and still trying to pressure that number 76 into a mistake. He's got that Michael Dolan in tow, so 3 BMWs all over one another. They've lost touch to Tamaro's Caribou and Jem Aiken, though, those couple of Ferraris. And that's very interesting to me. They let those two get away.
That's not here, Garrett.
yeah, exactly. It looks like maybe these drivers in Angle, unfortunately didn't catch it. Obviously 41 cars, you can't catch all the battles at all the times, but it's really interesting to see the two Ferraris just checked out. Well, hopefully, you know, we can see that. Just hopefully they can bring a good battle against, as you can see there.
The gap to Lowry behind is now 0.50.
But, you know, it's a battle.
And Campbell's actually lost some spots here. He's fallen from, let's see, he was in 9th, starting to pressure Trevor Anderson in that bunch, and he's fallen back into 13th, so I'm not sure what the issue here is with Campbell, but it looks like he can attack the wall or a car or something, because he's got a little bit of damage on that Audi, and suddenly it's falling back to the rankings. He's now positions to Runner, Boyette, Robinson, and Mikhaila, all the same, so it looks like they're all just bumped up on spots now. Justin Mikhaila, I guess, threat to the top 8. Trevor Anderson being the first one he comes out to, and in back, there's some front runners and Anderson's Flash Racing machines. I wonder if there's more related. So Brown up ahead of him in 7th place, followed by the number 211, and Brennan Boyd up into 6th, following up now, who's in 5th.
Yeah, just looking at Tyler's lap time, his previous lap was 2 seconds slower than his current lap time, his average lap time. So definitely made contact with some underdrive. Said he has a bit of damage. So that's unfortunate for the driver, as I'm pretty sure that's commentator first. Just as talked that he was having a great race, he of course makes a mistake and gets some damage. So I'm sorry there, Tyler. Didn't mean. But hopefully, you know, he can still put some pressure into the Ferrari and that Ford. You know, he's making moves on Ford. You know, just silently already up into the 11. Hopefully, he can crack up a top 10. I'm sure he's hoping for it. But this is definitely going to be a battle to keep an eye out for, because Chris didn't catch the Ford of Gavin yet. You know, we saw him getting close a few laps ago. But
whoa, Campbell around!
Oh, that's disaster. So that's more commentators first for Campbell. I'm so sorry, Tyler. As you can see, he's trying to make sure the track is going to do it safely. Yes, he does, but unfortunately, he's losing position to James Allen. It looks like he's going to lose to
Okay, Randall, the next car is Jones.
It's going to be a battle in the 10! Samara laid on the brakes.
On the inside of Jim as well. You can see he's going to lose 2 more positions than he does. So that's a disaster for Tyler. But very well done for Jim, you know, spotting the inside.
There's an incident in turn 16. It looks like blue.
Up into P16 already. So interesting and very well spotted from Jim there.
Yeah, that was big time for Tamaro's character. Oh my, here comes Brady Campbell. Sorry, Tyler Campbell. I don't know where that move was going, but he lunged on Jim Aiken, and now he's going to pit. So this actually might be the opening of our pit cycle, and it is, because Sarah Rabb is also in, along with Chris Reimer. So
329. Come on, mate, we really need to get the hammer down now.
It is right at halfway. We're coming to the 30-minute mark, and as you can see, we're at 17:34. Rabb exiting the pit lane now. I'd imagine they're all only going to take fuel. I don't think anybody's going to take tires. Campbell in the pit lane, which
half distance. We estimate 12 minutes of fuel left.
But a lot of them actually stay. Most of the field stands out. I'd imagine they're all coming this time. So now, all eyes go to the leaders and when they're going to pit. So we got to watch D'Alessandro, we got to watch Weitendorf, Hansen, Molinari, even out of top 5 and more to see when these guys decide to come out of the pit lane. I imagine that just at least D'Alessandro should be coming this time. You do not want to get undercut, even if you're not taking tires. You just want to get that pit stop out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. So Sarah's pushing her. She was the top driver, the first top driver to pit. So she definitely put a lot of these drivers under pressure, because obviously now they're going to be thinking about her undercut. Obviously, she doesn't want to get held up at all by Mick Blue right ahead of her. So hopefully Mick is going to pit right now, so we can see Sarah trying to get an undercut. But obviously, remember, the guys ahead of her are running low fuel, so you can see there are just another few drivers going into pit lane, so trying to cover that undercut that she placed. So it's going to be interesting to see which drivers decide to continue. Obviously, they may have some more fuel on board, and obviously, you know, remember, they're running low fuel, so they're going to be putting...
Josh, I'm going to be pitting this lap.
It's not going to be a win for undercuts. You know, we're definitely going to see some overcuts, working on this race.
That might be a penalty for Islam, and he might get nabbed for an unsafe pit entry. That was kind of a late decision because he was nearing Catalunya turn 16, and suddenly decided to cross over that paint there and realized
the gap in front is now 3.7.
No.
327.
Most of the front runners staying out. We saw Molinari and Mo Islam come in for the first 15 or so everybody else, it looks like there's a split strategy here of mostly either you took enough fuel to just run out of tank and then take a much smaller tank later on, or you decided to split this race right in half and take less fuel from the get-go and try and get your tanks in.
Yeah, and remember, this track is extremely difficult to overtake if the guy ahead of you doesn't make a mistake, so we may have some the drivers that just pitted, they may have just fuel safe for this entire first part of the race, so just fuel safe, and when they saw there was a bit of a gap, they just enough to refuel the car and come back on the circuit, they just may have done that, so in order to get clean air and faster lap time. It's going to be interesting to see all these different strategies working out. We're going to have to wait and see essentially which ones have worked out and which ones haven't. And it's definitely a gamble if you stay out or if you come in right now. So that's going to be interesting to see. Keep an eye on these next weeks.
Okay, Randall, 10 minutes of fuel remaining.
Hansen looks like he's going to stay out as well. He'll come across the start-finish line momentarily. Luke now looks like he's going to stay out. Everybody up front really electing to stay on the racetrack. This is a battle, though, for position of drivers that have not pitted. Justin Michaela all over the back end of Whiplash Racing driver Trevor Anderson. And Trevor's got that damage. I think that's holding that BMW back. He left what looked like it was almost going to be a lane into one, but quickly closed in on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Jones ahead is pitting.
The
gap behind is now decreased to 1.5.
Just how difficult it is to get close to try and line up. But you can see that
what happened, Jason?
a bit wide, and Justin stays just enough on the apex of the corner to try and get a smooth an exit. So you can see that Trevor is suffering a bit of pressure, and you can see that just outraking Trevor on every single corner. He's trying to be lining up a move on the inside now to turn 7. He's going to get that mistake. Doesn't as Trevor goes a bit wide, leaves him the space in case he goes for the dive hole. Gets a little bit of a drift out of turn 8, but he keeps the move into turn 9.
Yeah, Michaela's definitely faster, but Anderson knows that we're down to the back half of this race. He's got to defend if he can. You don't want to lose that position under any circumstances. So, despite being a little bit maybe down on power, aerodynamics, what have you, in the number 211, Trevor's definitely trying to hang on to this spot. And it definitely seems like Justin's better on the brakes. It seems like that's the reason we're beating him this entire lap or so that we've been watching. So, I would not be surprised if that's where the pass is made on a corner entry as opposed to a mistake. I think Michaela's just going to be into one of these corners eventually.
Yeah, exactly. You can see there just Trevor is a little bit wide, take a little bit of that sausage curve, and that may cost him coming into the final 16 as they line themselves up to the massive start finisher. And you can see that's the closest we see two cars going into turn 1 all this race. So we're going to see if Justin has the outbreak capabilities, let's say.
On your right.
Turn 8, he lines up on the inside, and he does outbreak Trevor. Trevor's going to be trying to hold it around the outside.
Come on, Randall, keep pushing. We might get him back.
Just enough room as he almost made contact. Physically racing for both of them. Hats off to Trevor. Just saved the car in order to not make contact, but unfortunately lost the position. That was great racing.
My team owner hat says, whoa, I like the
Pit lane
move.
speed limit is
My
50
broadcast
miles per
my
hour.
broadcast
We'll
hat
continue to the
says,
end of the
whoa,
race.
I like the move. Because that was
3,
that was interesting
2,
what Trevor tried to do
1.
right there. He tried to get back
Stop.
and get him
Getting out,
offline, but that move was never going to stick. It was never going to work out for that position. I think it was really just to kind of get back at him. Maybe say he didn't quite like the lunge into T1 or the other corner.
The car behind is pitting.
Michaela was definitely trying to test the braking zone a little bit. But of course, Trevor's been
Watch
slow
your
right
speed.
now. And eventually, Michaela was going to get on by, whether it was going to come on track or in the pit lane somewhere. Michaela was going to best this 211 car right now.
There's a car approaching. Don't cross the white line. Watch your mirrors.
Yeah, exactly. That reminded me a bit of Lando Norris and Lance Spanish Grand Prix, just made contact into turn 2. Luckily, Trevor avoided that, excellent car control. But unfortunately, yeah, he said he has a little bit of damage. Unfortunately, he's slower right now. But, he has
Blue flag.
to keep up with Justin. As you can see now, he's going to get held up a bit by the BMW, by the left BMW. That's unfortunate. Now he's going to lose with shot contact that he had. But, it's, you got to hold that position. He's still in the top 10, so that's a really strong result.
Blue flag.
Right now. So if he can keep that P7, I'm pretty sure he's going to be really happy with it. Not only him, but also the team owners.
Well, well, keep in mind, these guys still have to pit. Everybody up here in the top 15 or so still has to come down to pit lane. It looks like the top driver that has pitted is maybe going to be Chris Brenneman.
Blue flag.
It's Eric Molinati actually in 14th spot. He's got a couple other drivers who are pitted behind him. Kyle Robinson in the, actually.
The gap ahead is now 19 seconds.
I wonder how he's managed to cycle out because, yeah, he's got 2 minutes in the pit lane. What it says here, that may be a glitch with our scoring differences. You'll notice sometimes the leaders will start to randomly drop down the scoring order. That is because of the draw distance on iRacing. Unfortunately, we can't keep all cars on camera at the same time, and all cars rendered at the same time. So that's why they drop around sometimes. I think that's a rendering error there. Kyle Robinson, but showing him at a 2-minute stop. That's correct. Regardless, Molinati, Robinson, and Rob right here, they have all pitted. So these are the guys that I expect to cycle back into the top 10, especially Molinati. Oh, and Robinson, big mistake right there.
Speed 31.
Yeah, as I said, we have that great battle.
Flag.
And you can see those drivers don't need that battle. They need to keep their nose clean and put clean laps to try and make the undercut work. So this is going all against their original plan of doing the undercut. But I just want you just showed quickly on the transmission. Chris Runover, the driver that started P2 and dropped back lap when he was making it, has massive damage to his car. He's all the way down in P22. And this has been a disaster race. We don't know what exactly happened. Obviously, he made contact with someone or something. And unfortunately, dropped back. Now I'm pretty sure that's unfixable damage realistically in a 1 hour race. So that's really unfortunate to see for Chris.
I'm trying to look back, maybe an incident or something that happened in front of him. Ooh, it looks like I might have found it. It was lap 16, so it's been a little bit.
Left side. Clear left.
Blue flag.
I'm gonna try because this is such an important driver to watch and see what happens. That's not fun at all. Looks like it may not work out in my favor, so we can look back at it at some point later. Rob currently riding around in, let's see, the 20th position or so. Not the day that he wants to have.
The leader's pitting now.
Despite having some great battles earlier on. Meanwhile, this is a solid battle right here between the top two because Alessandro has a short, well, it's actually lengthened the gap back to Whitendorf as he's fighting through traffic. Traffic helping him, and a very damaged car up ahead. Who is that? That is... Oh, that's Gavin Cohn.
Is now leading.
One incident where he and Trevor Anderson made contact. Here comes Alessandro down the pit lane. And, ooh, that was a sketchy entrance there from Whitendorf as well. But if you recall, that lap 1, turn 1 incident for Gavin Cohn has set him way, way back. Good to see him back on the racetrack, though, as our leaders coming for service.
Yeah, we just saw what happened to John Whitendorf on the exit of the sausage car, the exit of turn 15.
Alright, Randall, there'll be chances here. Let's make sure we can take them. That's 20 minutes to go, 20 minutes.
The rear just snapped. I mean, obviously, these cars don't have ABS, so as soon as you press the brake, the tires just don't lock, so the car keeps going forward, and unfortunately, he hit the wall just on the engine of the road, and that absolutely destroyed this race. So that's really unfortunate what happened to him. Not to technically fault of his own, obviously, just dropped the wheel onto the curb, and that was his race. Now John leaves the pit lane, and I think he's gonna try. Obviously, he has a 2.93-second gap before he pitted onto Garrett, so we're gonna have to wait. Oh no, Garrett actually pitted him as well, so no undercut from John. He just joined Garrett, so John is gonna try, obviously, final 10 laps, 11 laps.
The gap behind's increased to 7.8.
Yeah, but it's like that's still a long race.
James Hansen and James Allen both like to stay out one more lap, as well as Michael Doling in the number 7. So they're all in positions here. Ray Lubnow is actually up to the third car that has pitted, so he may be fighting for third right here. Brady Lubnow in the number 11 as actually he goes wide. He's trying to get on by Doling in the number 7, and he's got John McClintock all over back into him. So McClintock move him up into the top 10. He's 7th position in the number 80. As Lubnow still trying to get by this BMW of Doling. Goes wide through turn 4. Repsol, as it is called. I completely butchered that call out, but Doling falls back into 6th. Then
B30.
McClintock wants to get on by. That would be our 6th position for McClintock. He's got company though. Brandon Glenn Boyd is right on behind.
Yeah, exactly. John does not want to get held up behind Michael at this point. Michael really struggling. I don't know if the tires just got a bit of pressure onto him, but he's really struggling from the first sector. We saw a bunch of mistakes from 3, 4, and 5. So right now, John really, he has to go defensive actually, as you see that Braden Boyd trying to make a move around the outside work. It's really hard to make it around the outside work. He's going to get a better exit. Is he going to be brave around the outside? He is, as he gets the move lined up into 12. They're going to go really close. John just gets the move around, just protects his position on the exit of turn 12. That was incredible. Massive respect to both of them to actually give room on all those corners. So really interesting to see. As you can see now, Ren is under massive pressure from Justin as well. As you can see there, John going to the pit lane, following Michael. We're going to have to see if one of these drivers jumps from another.
Almost contact with the pit entry cone as Michael Owen gets back down to pit speed, and John McClintock enters behind him. So they get down, they get service. It looks like most of the field now has come in for their pit stops. And you see Michael De La Sala has gone a lap down now to our race leader, Garrett D'Alessandro. And our leader, well, our previous leader has been as well, James Hansen. Or did he just lose the position? No, he has pitted now. So James Hansen has pitted, he has taken service, and it looks like he may have actually, it looks like he has cycled in the third. So that's interesting that Hansen stayed out and still is on the third position. Brandon Boyd now cracks the top 5. Kylan now in the 6th spot. He's got Molinati close behind. Sarah Rack back there as well. And Trevor Anderson came out of the top 10.
Come on, slow down.
Looks like 13 seconds back to Mo Islam for 10th.
Yeah, exactly. You see some of the strategies worked, some of them didn't, so it's really interesting to see everybody try to make a different strategy work. Obviously, that really makes not only the street, but the race really interesting from every driver's point of view. And is it just me, or looks like Garrett closed up on, John closed up on Garrett, because looks like the cars are quite close to her right now, at least they were in the first sector, but maybe Garrett has some minutes to for this last part of the race. As you can see there, 3 seconds, so he closed up around a second during the pit phase, so it's going to be interesting to see John trying to put a fight here.
Yeah, we're talking about 4 seconds. While it is a quarter of the gap that he's made up, that's still 3 more seconds he's got to go. Sarah Rav all over back into Molinati. This is for his 7th position. This is quite the compelling battle because Molinati was early into the pit lane and he really, along with Rav. The driver ahead of him, McClintock, actually stayed out a little bit longer. Brennan Boyd ahead of him as well, and Trevor Anderson also stayed out just a little bit longer. In fact, Sarah Rav was one of the first ones out of pit lane, and Molinati followed 1 lap later and has now leapfrogged at number 3.
Yeah, exactly. And this is just to prove that strategy does work. I mean, you should always try to make it work in your favor, but we can see that just everybody is back already on the back, so we can see different strategies. We can see undercuts and overcuts, and at the end of the day, they're all back together fighting, and we can see the same struggle trying to get close to the car ahead.
15 minutes left, that's 15 minutes. Wait till your apexes. Wait for the chances to come, mate.
Always long, and I'm sure they don't want anything with the
Yeah, the entire top 10 has been great all evening. I do want to mention the fact that, unfortunately, don't know what the issue is, but you're not going to see Gavin Boyette in the standings this evening on your ticker. Don't know what the problem is, we'll make sure it's worked out. We'll do our best to make sure it's worked out for you too. But yeah, for some reason 38 not showing on the ticker is 10th position. So he's actually in front of Islam. Islam is 11th, which means Trevor Anderson very nice job to go catch, and of course Anderson's just a little ways back over Rab and those others. So Gavin Boyette,
the gap in front has increased to 18 seconds.
Who do I go for that?
Almost. Well, he is in the top 10 now in that Ford. So I mean, that's pretty impressive for that Valhalla entry.
Yeah, I mean, if I was driving a Ford and I was beginning to talk we have to do that super victory, and I'm sure he's going to take a lot out of this race if he can manage to stay in the top 10, because you see drivers make mistakes, so it's not
on your left, clear left.
If he can keep his a decent sized gap to Mo Islam, very sizable gap. So if he can keep his nose clean, he's definitely prime position to do that top 10. But ahead of the drivers is all to play for. As you can see, a lot of battles unfolding right now. You can see there battles not only for, we don't have a battle for the podium, but we do have a battle for top 5. So that's still wide open.
there's still a lot of battles that could happen, even if they aren't currently happening. Because Garrett D'Alessandro is currently getting tracked down little by John Whitendorf. It's only hundredths of a second that he's picking up right now, but he's trying to chip into that lead. James Hansen all on his own in third, but a little ways further back, you get this gag of cars beginning with Franklin Boyd. A mistake could put these guys against one another and really fun for himself. And it was a lot of great battles with the top 10s. This race is not over yet up here. We even have battles back here for like 13th, where actually Kyle Robinson, he's got some wing damage, it's really holding him up, and he's going to lose a position to his Valhalla teammate of the Bush. Robinson going to go around right in front of Brunimer and Allen.
Yeah, I can see that was really close. Unfortunately, that damage does unsettle the rear of the Audi, and
B30
really took it down here. Braking zone, and unfortunately, that cost him another few positions, and it's just a disaster race. You can see that Audi doesn't look too fast, and as you can see, 4 battles unfolding, 4 battles between the brands. You can see that BMW versus Ferrari, so it's a nice mixture of which every single car battling for every single position. We don't see a dominant car, and that's really good to see this week.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely is. Now, let's just work from the back or so forward. Let's see if we're trying to tweak a lot more of the field. We're going to start off with Jem Aiken, currently running about 22nd or so, but he's got Claude Remillard right ahead in the RSR entry, the number 64. These guys fighting to get into the top 10 just about, because Andre Millette, another RSR entry, just ahead of them. Further up, Tyler Campbell, we talked about him making inroads on the lead cars a little while ago through the, well actually, he was almost, I think he was in the top 5, fighting positions up there, or in the top 10 at least, and he had gotten up to and had passed, no, he was getting close to passing Sarah Rapp, then fell back, whatever issue, and he's got some damage to show for it. He is currently in 16th. Michael Doling ahead of him, another driver that's been kind of up and down this evening, as high as 10th position, so Doling has some pace in that car, just not quite the night that he wants to have. Robinson ahead of him.
Your last lap time was 1:49.63.
So all that damage definitely hindering that Audi, and we've seen these Audis get torn up before in endurance races where you see those wings really affect the aerodynamics of these Audi GT3 cars. That's exactly what's happening to him. He's lost a lot of weight grip. John McClintock ahead of these guys, and Chris Brunimer also up there. And he's actually doing really good given the damage that he's got despite platform issues. Whatever happened to the number 2. He started second place and really should still be up.
Yeah, exactly. As I said, he showed great pace right from the get-go. Unfortunately, obviously had a lap 1 incident. And that dropping back, you can see there on your screen, the car is not looking the healthiest. This is trying to catch the right red.
You know you got a flag, Marine.
Who's running?
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, he's running P15. He already gained 3 positions since he started P18, so that's really good for him. Ahead of him is Mikhail Urbush. I hope I pronounced that right. On the Audi, he lost 3 positions.
Okay, Randall, 10 minutes to go. That's 10 minutes left. This is okay. Keep those exit speeds up.
And he's trying to chase Mo Islam, who is actually not quite close to Gavin just yet. But Mo Islam is definitely trying to catch, but he's definitely still under pressure from Tamir. Not really sorry, but you know, we can see these drivers not really getting further apart. Some of these faces quite similar, you know, obviously.
He didn't make it easy on me, probably if he wanted to.
All sorts of stuff, but you know, we can definitely see some battles coming together in the next few laps.
Gavin Boyette in the top 10, and he's trying to make inroads in the gap to Trevor Anderson, who's in light in the Whiplash entry. Despite that right front damage, and I think that's what
The gap behind is now 12 seconds.
Gavin. Gavin moved over on 4 entry 1, and actually a little bit of contact and moving playing for gravel. It was certainly not the way we wanted to start off turn 1, lap 1, but the way that you sometimes see when you have 30 new drivers around one another. That kind of thing just happens every once in a while, and it's part of how
Hey, race control, can someone tell Maurice that the flag
and it's something that will get worked out guaranteed by final.
Okay, Randall, you just cut the track.
Sarah Rabb up ahead in the 8th position, started 13th, has been as high as 7th. I think that she's actually moving up to 6th or so. She's been looking pretty good. This number 31 just hasn't quite mounted the run that she'd like to have. Meanwhile, Eric Molinati up ahead of her, and these two have been really stuck like 6th cycle. Justin McCullough up ahead of them, who finally got through this set of cars, got by Jerry Anderson, then the rest of them pit stops, and McCullough looking pretty darn good.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be trying to challenge Braden Boyd into the top 5 in the 5th place. That, you know, finally got to the spot in the top 5. So definitely a great result for him if he managed to steal that position from Brennan. As you know, you can see he's starting with P12. So if he can get that position, that's going to be immense.
Thank you, Brian.
Unfortunately, we're not seeing the pace of every driver right now because Barcelona is an extremely difficult track to take. And as we head into top 4, we can see that Brady Luke now starting with P4. He's starting with P11, so that's another excellent race as we're seeing here. In the top 3, only third and second place made up moves. Obviously, we saw Chris dropping back, so they made those moves and they stuck by it, no mistakes. We can see there James Henson starting at P4, now currently the final step of the podium. Joe Weindendorf starting with P3, made it to P2, kept his lead. Battle Garrett right now, but he's definitely and Garrett just beat the fastest 4 seconds ahead of P2, 21 seconds ahead of P3, just absolutely dominating the race. He'll let pretty much led every single lap, in fact, apart from I'm pretty sure 2.
Incident in turn 5. You think it might be Robinson?
5 laps ago. And Garrett went on by. There's John in second. Second back here is James Hansen, waiting for him to come on by. Our camera here on the front stretch. I think this is him right here. Maybe. Let's see. Was that James Hansen that went on by? It was not. They finally went on by. So you see the gap is just monstrous from this top 2 back to third place. They really run away with things, but especially Garrett D'Alessandro. Now we're used to seeing this, at least I am. Every race that I've seen him enter, he's done
Gone out of track limits, keep it between the lines.
Not everything I've seen him enter, but has at least had strong pace. And I don't know where Garrett gets it from, but man, he's just so quick, especially this evening in this Audi R8, certainly putting a beating on the rest of the field. He's beating 40 cars, and that's pretty impressive in its own right. Even to beat 20 cars this evening would be pretty impressive, but he's beating 40 of them. That's quite the feat.
And obviously, it's not just pace, it's keeping your nose clean, doing it lap after lap, just maintaining lap time. And he's put everything together in this race. You know, we saw him getting pole 6/10 of a second clear.
The gap behind is now 13 seconds.
And he proved us all wrong. You know, he just completely lap after lap, just been putting a small gap on every single lap, keeping his nose clean, timing his overtaking lap for car. So, no mistakes, a perfect race from Gary, that just as it should be from the race. And the same goes for John. Obviously, he doesn't have the pace to match Garrett, but he's done the same in relation to third place. So, hats off to both drivers, as you can see there. Just push a little bit of the limits of the track. Probably getting off track there, but you know, he can afford it only for
Hey Eric, at the end of this race, you gotta tell me what your left front tire is at, okay?
We're now inside of 6 minutes to go in this one, and we have some battles popping up again throughout the rest of the top 10. We're trying to follow in on them.
The guy in front is Robinson. Alright, Randall. 5 minutes to go. 5 minutes left. 10 minutes of fuel remaining.
He's got Justin McCullough not so far back. This could spring a battle between these two. Delasala gets well out of the way. So he's just trying to let these guys go on by turn 1. Will he? Yeah, he's going to get on the brakes and signal, but he's trying to let them go on by. And McCullough will get on by as well. Oh, and it gets real tight to turn 1, but he does let McCullough in the number 18 go by. Just a little bit close quarters racing. Luke now is up ahead of them in 4th. Noah Knight is still trying to fend off Sarah Rabb, although he has opened up a slight gap back to her. Trevor Anderson is going to have a miracle at Gavin Boyette soon if he's not careful, though. They're getting closer and closer.
Yeah, exactly. The battle for top 5 is still very alive. You know, we can see there Brendan just trying to look to absolutely everything that he can to try and get the top 5 in. You know, Sarah's trying to put the pressure onto Eric, who's trying to put the pressure on Teach Justin, who's trying to put the pressure on Brent. So everybody is trying to put pressure into absolutely everybody. If you don't get past someone, you may get passed by someone.
Randall, can you let me bind P1? Turn 1.
Only ahead of him, trying to put the pressure on the guy ahead, but also trying to control the pressure that you're getting on.
Okay. Before things wrap up this evening, want to thank you ready for tuning in here, Pit Stop TV. As we said earlier, we know you have a choice of many iRacing streams that you can tune into at any given point in time. We thank you for spending your evening with us. We'll see you several of you guys. Looks like 10 of you guys currently over on Twitch. Looks like we've got about 20 or so over on YouTube. Not sure about the Facebook numbers rather, but just thank you to all of you for tuning in this evening. Garrett Alessandro has just absolutely bullied this field this evening, and he's got a almost 4.5, now it is 4.5 seconds gap back to John Whitendorf. You'll notice drivers are going to move around sometimes, especially when you see their interval go away. Wow! Who is that spun around? It's Chris Brunnemer spun around!
So yeah, you can see just again another disaster, you know, just the Ferrari just is absolutely beaten. So he's probably trying to push as hard as he could and unfortunately lost the car onto turn 4. I'm trying to rewind to see what happened. That was exactly what happened. He just got a bit too hot into turn 4 and the rear just snapped and unfortunately he couldn't catch it and hit the concrete barrier head on. So luckily he didn't take anyone out while he was fighting. As you can see, they're just a massive car doing a massive trip, pretty much a rally cross stage there. What was that in?
Well, this is still Brunnemer. This is going well back. We're watching the
Hey, Maurice, if you get any closer to my friend, I'm gonna have to do something about it, alright?
sideways and in the gravel through turn 16, also known as Catalunya, then into turn 1, and we're just going to follow along with him because it's in turn 4, where he's going to end up turned around, and in that barrier, you can see the leaders getting closer in the distance, and Brunnemer just, he had a great
2 minutes to go, 2 minutes.
This run had a great opening this evening, and then just, since lap 1, it's been just terrible for this number 2.
There's an incident in turn 3.
Turn around, boom. I'm not sure. Number 22. There goes the blue one by, who's also got a lot of damage. A lot of incidents have happened throughout the field pretty clearly. Jamaican goes on by our leaders, so big one there for Chris Brunnemer as he loses spots. Now the leader having to go onto the sausage curbs in turn 1 to get by Nick Blue.
Yeah, I'm sure Garrett's heartbeat just went up a bit. Obviously, as a lap car, you don't want to make them fight too hard.
Yeah, you don't want to make the leader ride the sausage in turn 1. That's not ideal at all.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure Garrett just didn't expect that, but he managed to get a car under control. He managed to keep it clean, and he's riding off. Obviously, lost a bit of time to John, which is now 3.2, so definitely lost a lot of time onto that overtake. But you know, 2 laps to go. John has to right now, you know, trying to get the lead.
It's going to take a lot more than a miracle. Actually, it looks like Alan's Roth sponsors have been watching this evening, and they might need Alan Miracle Roth to help John Whitendorf out to make this a battle for the race win. But I want to go back to what I was saying. You'll see these drivers going to move around. Sometimes they jump around kind of every once in a while. That's because, unfortunately, the iRacing draw distance doesn't allow us to have all cars in the racetrack at once, which means our timing and scoring kind of bugs out when we have this many cars in a race. You just kind of have to stick with us as best as you can. We apologize for that inconvenience because it messes us up too, but we work through it the best we can. We are, it looks like, coming to our final lap very shortly. I wonder when it comes, because sometimes the timing of when the leader gets to start finish line will change up.
3:29, 1 more to go.
We'll see if the lights go white across the start finish line here. Alessandro should be taking the white flag. The lights have not gone white just
Hey, Maurice,
yet.
I gotta come through here, man. I gotta get right behind me.
This should be, we think, is the final lap.
Yo, Jordan, if you let me pass you, it'll be your last lap.
They'll manage to fly back in your.
If you want to go around for another, I can just stay behind.
John also had to deal with the back marker. So I'm sure these guys will the race done as quickly as possible.
Okay, Randall, you estimate you've got 5 minutes of fuel remaining.
So these guys don't want the race to be done, and obviously they want to get it done. But looks like they spread a little bit, so I'm not sure if there was contact with someone.
Oh, now.
Anderson on P8 just getting behind that battle much between
Trevor, I'm just gonna ride behind you, dude.
31, so
You don't deserve this.
these guys are both trying to disturb a lot of their battle.
Well, Michael Delasal is in this
Thank you,
battle,
man. I
and he
appreciate
is a
that, Gavin.
teammate, so Michael should make it easy, but the Audi is not. Almost drives across the nose of Trevor Anderson. I mean, sure, you're battling, but you have a battle further up the standings coming up behind you. You've got to let these guys go, because now Gavin Boyette has just, he's got a steak dinner right in front of him and Trevor Anderson, and he wants to get on by and get that 9th position and work further up into the top 10. But Trevor's got to be screaming at this guy. I mean, he wants him out of his way because he wants to keep racing and doesn't want to get caught up by Gavin Boyette. Meanwhile, at the far end of the racing surface, circuit, is Garrett D'Alessandro working out of turns 14, 15, down through 16, and he is going to come around to the start finish and claim his victory.
329, there's the checkered flag.
Fantastic race. You can see they're just weaving a little bit as he celebrates with his pit crew. Just a great race for Green Control. John finishes second as we can come back into third. You can see just a massive gap coming down into turn 16. Sorry, they turn 13 right now, so you can see that massive battle. John, the Ford of Gavin Boyette. He's absolutely smiling right now.
That's really incredible sportsmanship, Gavin. I really appreciate it.
They're not going to give up. They're not going to let Trevor goes into the gravel. Is Gavin going to try and make a look? No, he's a bit too far back. He's going to try and make a move into the last chicane of turn 14 and 15.
Wants to fight for P30.
So it looks like Gavin's going to finish P10 and Trevor P9. So that's a relief for Trevor. After everybody, sure was a hard in the mouth moment as he was trying to lap those guys ahead of him. When he finishes P9, he secures that
that's fun.
position. Gavin started on P14,
Absolutely.
finishes up on a P10 to the mighty 4, so that's a winner for him in my books.
Yeah, that's pretty solid for Anderson to hang on to that position. More cars are finishing, and we'll wait for those results to come in, but while these guys do so, man, just what an evening of racing. And that, there were incidents, sure, but that was a lot of really good, clean racing throughout the entire field for 60 minutes, and with that pit stop thrown in there, that was really cool to see these guys have such good racing all evening long. Not a whole lot of contact. There was some contact when drivers made mistakes or what have you, but just really good stuff the entire evening here for the Northwest.
There were some boys in there that need blue flag lessons.
I'm really glad we landed this series for sure, because these guys, they definitely put on a show here in Barcelona.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, contact and crashes are part of the sport. We see that on every single type of motor racing. We see that in the Pinnacle, in Formula 1. We see that in every single category. So, but that's just a part of racing. Obviously, it's unfortunate when it happens to take someone out, but it's just a nature. But it was incredible to be able to commentate on this league. Obviously, 40 cars were almost guaranteed to almost have a battle throughout the grid, and I can't wait to talk to them
like 10 laps for you to make a mistake.
Watch your speed.
Watch your speed.
Finished on the podium this
500.
evening. Garrett D'Alessandro, John
400.
Whitendorf, and James Hansen
200.
taking first, second, and
100.
third respectively. We're looking at Whitendorf
0.
pull back into the pit lane here. Hansen also coming around the racetrack. So we will